Today we're going to talk about how you're not that important. Let's pour some coffee on that. Hey guys, you're watching Coffee Talk, where we drink coffee and talk about Jesus. Like I said, you're not that important. I'm not that important either. It's actually a good spiritual practice to continually remind ourselves that we aren't the center of the universe and that any good thing we ever do or could do is a grace. We need help. We can't do it on our own. A couple weeks ago, there was a reading in Exodus in which it recounts the Amalekites, and they were battling the Israelites. They came to attack Israel, and any time that Moses' arms were raised up into the air, the battle went in the Israelites' favor. And any time Moses put his arms down, Amalek had the better of the fight. Obviously, this is a reference to and symbolic of that we need God's help, like putting our hands up in praise and in worship and saying, like, I need your help, God. But he didn't just need help from God. He needed help from other people around him. There was two people who had to hold Moses' arms up with him. This is a great, powerful symbol and a recognition that we need God, but it's not just our relationship with God. We need each other. And in fact, all of our successes, all of the things that we've done well in life, if we're doing anything good, it's because we might have cooperated with grace, but we had help. Yet so many people believe that they're strong and independent and really, really super duper important, and that it's all about them and all their success is about them. In fact, we need to rely on others. This is actually why I think Jesus preached what he did about being rich, that the rich have a harder time entering the kingdom of heaven. Why? Because when you're rich, you are comfortable. When you're rich, sometimes you might think more of yourself than you should. When you're rich, you might not rely on other people, God or others around you. You have a buffer, you are comfortable, and you think really highly of yourself. And that's a dangerous spiritual place to be. Because actually, in the end, we are all in need of help from God and each other. There's a quote from the book of Job, and it's one of my favorite quotes. Naked I came forth from my mother's womb, and naked I shall go back again. This is pretty self-explanatory. When we're born, we have nothing. We literally don't even have clothes. Like, we are reliant on our parents, on all the people around us. We cannot survive without others' help. And then naked I shall go back again. Usually, sometimes, if we're graced to have a long life where we're able to prepare spiritually to die, at the end of our life, we're relying on others. At the beginning of our life, someone's got to change our diaper. At the end of the life, someone might be changing your diaper. But it is true. I see it all the time in people's lives, and people I visit and people I anoint, that the end of our lives, sometimes, we are reliant on others. And that is actually a good thing, because that is the true spiritual reality of our souls. We are not that important. We can't be the center of the universe. We can't be the reason for all of our successes. This recognition of our reliance on other people brings humility, and that humility makes us holy. And so it's a great spiritual practice to, even if you're very successful and very talented and you've done a lot in your life, to step back and recognize the privileges that allowed you to be successful, the help you received from others, the things that gave you a leg up that other people didn't necessarily have. And it also opens us up to the situation of our brothers and sisters around us. I want to highlight a song by a guy named Ben Rector. Okay, Ben Rector expresses this humble truth that we are not that important and that our successes aren't necessarily from our own doing solely, but that we've had help from others, in a song called The Men That Drive Me Places. Now, he sings this song at the end of his show. You know that part of the show where there's an encore? You know, everyone's like, it's nice to see you in New Orleans. It's great being here. Thanks. You're a great crowd. And then, everyone claps and they walk off stage, and then they gotta wait for, till you clap enough, and then they come back on stage and they play 3 more songs. It's called the encore. Everyone knows it's gonna happen. Well, Ben was like, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna write a song for that situation. Who am I that you should call me back on stage and clap for me? Who am I, this is Ben talking, that you should know my name? When every day I encounter people in my life, and Ben encounters people in his life, that are fantastic, that are faithful, that are hard workers, that may have not had the experiences and the privileges that Ben had in his life that gave him the opportunity to become a very successful musician and songwriter. And so we wrote a song about the guys who drive in places, the Uber drivers, the taxi drivers, the shuttle drivers to the airport. And so I'm going to read you some of the lyrics to highlight this humility that all of us need to have. Ben says, Howard drives a minivan to a cruise ship in Fort Lauderdale, and it's been that way since 1994. He does his business on a flip phone with a most obnoxious ringtone. I didn't ask, but I could tell he's from New York. I love that line. He spoke proudly of his daughter, and that this fall she'd be in college, and that he'd always wished he'd gotten his degree. You could tell he came from nothing, built a future out of hustling, and somehow I'm the one you people pay to see. Oh, isn't that just the way it goes? You're dealt a good hand, and you get celebrated. Oh, am I the only one who knows I'm half the man of the men that drive me places? He tells another story about a guy named Danny. He says, Danny showed up early, 15 minutes till 5:30, making sure that I'd be on my morning flight. He said he'd love to fix computers, but that he can't until he's fluent. So he spends his driving money, taking class at night. He wore a neatly ironed dress shirt, and he helps his kids with homework. Deep inside, I couldn't help but ask myself, why that night up on stage, everybody knows my name, while Danny's early picking up somebody else. Ben knows a great truth, that all of his success as a musician, all the things he's done in his life, is a result of God's grace and other people's help. As a result of the things that have been laid at his feet, that he's received, that other people may not have received. And he recognizes that we have to respond to grace. We have to cooperate with this. And so there is some free will involved. Once we recognize in humility that we're not the most important people, and that our successes aren't really solely because of what we've done, that we're reliant on other people, then it opens us up to see and experience and encounter other people in our lives who can teach us a lot, like Danny and